Today, we got some great people. I want to introduce to you a little bit of our staff, our people. These are the owners in the company, some of the equity owners in the company. They're also some of our top executives. And I just want to have them come on and say hello. I just want you guys to know what you've got behind you, because you've got an amazing staff. As a matter of fact, I always tell everybody, I am like completely humbled by this group of people that I get to work with every day. And so I want to start by bringing on Frederick. If you'd come on first, he's our CEO. I'd like him just to say hello to everybody. And then, and actually the guy that actually built this team and put it in place was Frederick. So Frederick, I'd like you to maybe introduce Oscar, who obviously was the CEO at Apple. We've got Boo on here, who was the CEO and ran PokerStars Casino worldwide. I mean, we've got some amazing talent in this company. You're going to get to meet these people this morning. Yeah. So, and Frederick himself, who is my partner, one of the primary partners in this company, has run, I think, 6 international big companies in his lifetime as a CEO. A tremendous individual, somebody you're all going to get to meet and you're going to love. Because I tell you what, I've met a lot of people in my life, but this is one of the kindest, nicest, one of the nicest people God ever put on planet Earth. So with that, Frederick, if you would you come on and say hello and then introduce our other.
Hey, and before Frederick says anything, hey, Donald and I see Brian, will you guys mute your phones, please, so that we can hear properly? Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, because we do have a little background noise, guys. You know, this people, you know what happens on these calls when you're unmuted. Yes. And so even with us, sometimes it could be happening on our side, but even our team, after you talk, please make sure you mute as well. So Frederick, are you there?
I'm here, Mark.
Right.
I'm embarrassed how well you speak of me always, but it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Frederick. I'm from Sweden, but I've lived outside of Sweden for 33 years or 34 now. My relationship to the US is that I have cousins on the East Coast, and I've lived and studied at Colorado State University for 2 years. I love the country. I'm a big believer in the US. So the relationship between the US and Europe should never be weak, because there is a lot of bad countries out there, and we are certainly not among those countries. So pleasure to be here. What can I say about myself? I've been the CEO of 8 or maybe 9 companies in my life, in Sweden, but also primarily outside of Sweden, primarily in Europe. But I've also worked for 2 years in Mexico, being the CEO of a company there. I've stock listed 2 companies. I basically have a couple of rules that I usually follow when I start a new business. Number 1 is that I don't want to work with bad people. I've done that in my life and I've had it. I'm not going to work with any psychopaths or people that are not honest and transparent. And Mark is certainly not one of those things. He's all the opposite. So it's a pleasure every day to work with Mark. Secondly, I am not the guy who's going to make or break this company. It's actually the team that I recruit that's going to do that. So I always try to find, and this is a cliche, but it's true, and I followed this very, very strictly. I always try to employ people that are smarter than myself, always. So people that you will meet today are all smarter than what I am. I'm just a spider in the web trying to make everything happen, and that everything drives forward, and that everyone feels happy. And I'm the motivator, and I can also take out the whip if I need to, but I primarily believe in a positive atmosphere and the carrot, right? A boss once told me, Frederick, you need also to take out the whip. And I say, I can swear to you that I can make people run much faster using the carrot than using the whip. So I follow that, and that's 20 years ago. So that's all about me. I'm new to the industry. I really want to learn as much as I can from Brig, because I've seen so much of you online. But let me now introduce you to, first of all, I'm going to introduce you to the board of directors. And we're going to start with an individual who's been the CEO of Apple in Sweden and at times also in Scandinavia for no less than 20 years. He is a very, very humble guy. So I probably have to make the sales pitch for him. But Apple Sweden was the #1 country when it comes to penetration of all these products that they have per capita. Oscar, the scene is yours.
Thank you very much, Fredrik and Mark. Glad to see you all. I'm Oscar Bieres, and I'm based out of Spain now, but I'm Swedish as well as Fredrik. So yeah, I'm a family man. I have my wife that I met like when I was 18 years old. We're still married, and we're 3 kids. And at the last 20 years, I worked at Apple as the CEO. So I was one of the guys that came on when Steve had come on, built a new team in Cupertino, the central team. Then they were about, changed country managers. So I jumped on as the country manager for Sweden. So that was, a new startup feeling for Apple at that time, as you all know. But then it became much bigger. So we had 20,000 customers when I started, and now we have 5.5 million in Sweden. So it has been quite a journey. It's a change of days, when you come to the office. But it's been a fantastic time. Before Apple, I was the vice president sales for Icon Media Lab. We were the pioneers when internet came to, when the web started. At that time, the web only had 1% penetration. That's 25 years ago, or 26. So actually, there was no internet. And we were, I would say that we built a really good company in 13 countries. We were in New York, we were in Silicon Valley, of course. We were in Hong Kong, Singapore, and all the major European cities like Stockholm, London, Paris. We were the likes as Science, Viant, and Sapient at that time in America. But the difference was that we were international in all those countries. So that was that part. And before that, I worked at Nokia. Nokia that made phones and computers. And I became the vice president there as well. I worked there for 8 years, and I was the vice president the last 5 years. But so that's my professional career, which has been very funny. And my values are always to have fun. If you do what you're good at, and what you think is funny, that's what you do. And the reason why I came to Seaford was really that, as you can understand, I like to be where the change is. When you can change things, how people work, how two people communicate, how people earn money to the better, then I'm happy. That's what I want to help happening all the time. So I think what we're talking about here.
Oscar, I can add something about you. When I first met Oscar, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, man, CEO of Apple, and you're interested in being a part of this team. I think, why? And one of the things he told me, which I thought was fantastic, he said, Mark, you know what? When I started with Apple, I used to have to be the entrepreneur. I had to chase customers. Now, obviously, at this point, when Apple's, what it's accomplished, it's just people are standing in line to be a customer. So he said he lost that entrepreneurial excitement that he always loved, and he said he needed a challenge. So he leaves Apple. He didn't have to leave Apple. He left on his own accord. So I'm leaving to come here and be a part of this. And we're very excited to have him here. And trust me, he's going to be involved in building our e-commerce platform and all the stores and everything we're going to have up there that everybody's going to be able to go and shop in our marketplace. And I promise you, when Oscar calls somebody, people listen. And they'll open the doors to hear what he's got to say, particularly when you've, like I said, been at the level he's been at. So we're thrilled to have him here. Oscar's another one of these guys like Fredrik's, just an amazing human being. And one last thing, he makes the best steak on planet Earth.
And that's very important. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Good to have you on board.
Thanks, Oscar. Go ahead, Fredrik. Who else?
Yeah, so thanks a lot, Oscar. So we're going to move over to one of the most versatile directors or managers that I've ever worked with. And he's also not only a kind person, he can be hard also in business, but he's also one of the tallest guys I've ever met. I don't know how tall that is in feet, because I've lost how tall are you, Boo?
I'm 6'8".
6'8", okay, so Boo is a big guy, and he's got this voice that he uses, and really pay attention to him. But Boo, you're one of the most versatile managers I've ever met. You've been basically everything within a company. So go ahead.
All right, thank you, Fredrik. So I'm calling you, I'm Swedish, but I'm calling you from an ancient town in Greece, and the vault you see behind me is from the 1600s. That's my home. And I'm trying to learn Greek now, which is a huge challenge. So I have 2 sons, twins. They are 30 years old. One is a doctor, and the other guy is a military policeman. And he started his career 3 years ago. And at the time, Sweden had not been in war since 1809. And all of a sudden, he might be joining NATO. So he called me the other day. He said, "This is interesting, Dad." So my American background is that I was a competitive swimmer, and I got a scholarship to go to LA when I was young. So I spent a year there. I also went to Wharton Business School. And for 1 year, I worked for Accenture trying to automate the IRS to make the IRS more efficient. So it's partly my fault if you have agents, efficient agents in the US. My background is I've been working in online. I can trump Oscar actually, because I started Sweden's and maybe Europe's first internet service provider. And when we started, there was one Swedish web page, which was the Stockholm University. Since then, I have been working in entrepreneurial companies and mostly online internet-based companies. My last job was to create the casino arm of PokerStars. So PokerStars is the world's dominant online poker operator, and I built their online casino, and I left that 2 years ago, and I have retired in Greece. And but I'm really happy to be in the.
You took that division from 200 million to 600 or 700 million, right? Dollars and
yeah, 600 million euro. I don't know exactly, pretty much the same in dollars. And but I'm really happy to be aboard. I love to work with Fredrik. I've worked with Fredrik in a few companies. And when I met Mark, I got really excited. And also Oscar, I've had contact with through the years a bit. And I admire all of you guys. And I believe strongly in our products and in our business model. So I'm excited to be aboard. Thank you.
And I got to add something about Boo too. So again, I always like the stories about people. I mean, his skill set is off the charts. His abilities, what he brings to this company is really going to be amazing for all of you. But what an amazing individual. When I went to Sweden, he took me to a place when he was a young man that I was like, I forgot what it's called, the castle.
The royal castle.
The royal castle, right? And he was a guard there. You were actually he was equivalent to like what we call our Navy SEAL here. He was in the military, and I know you were a tactical diver or something in the military. Is that correct, Boo?
No, not exactly, but I was protecting the king at least.
Yeah, you're protecting. Yeah. So he took me there, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm sitting here in front of this royal castle, and I could picture Boo, who, by the way, is probably I'm a tall guy, but I have to look up into the stars to hey, Boo, how you doing up there? And but again, one of the kindest people I've ever met, toured me all over Sweden when we were there, and just a remarkable individual, unbelievably intelligent, a little scary sometimes with your intelligence, but if you want to talk about any subject, Boo can talk and give you a really educated answer. So again, thrilled to have him here. Boo, thank you so much for being a part of this. And
thank you so much.
Again, it's going to be part of what's going to bless everybody that's on this call because of this team we got. Fredrik, again, and I know we're doing a little more time than I wanted to because we got just some great people. And you guys need to know, because I actually believe one of the reasons that Stoplight Go is going to be a global success and have the kind of growth and success and longevity is because of this team. Because I'm telling you, if you don't have it, it won't happen because things will break down. But when you got this kind of talent, it's you can always fix things. So Fredrik, go ahead. I know we got a couple more people you want to introduce.
And talking about things breaking down that we don't want to break down, let's move over to our fantastic CTO, Chief Technical Officer, who joins us from Madrid, Spain. He's Swedish. Dan, it's all yours.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Well, my name is Dan, as Fredrik said. I'm also from Sweden, but I've been living in Spain for almost 25 years now. I'm married to a brilliant Spanish woman, and we have 3 kids, pretty small still. So it's a lot of driving back and forth to soccer practice and music practice and whatnot. Apart from that, I'm also in charge of the tech department here at Seaforth, and that's it's very funny and interesting work. I can say one of the most versatile things I've been doing in my whole career, and I've been in a lot of things. My background comes from space technology with the European version of NASA. I was in the beginning of the internet, working on big internet sites in the 90s. Then I moved to Spain. I've been working with banking industry, telecom sector, and travel industry. So I've seen a lot of things, and this is by far the most versatile thing I've ever done. So really happy to be here, and I think I speak for the whole technical department when I say that we're all thrilled, and we're very happy to have you all aboard, Greg.
I gotta add something to Dan too, okay? So I've been in this industry for 45 years, right? I've had literally hundreds of CTOs, I think, and over the years, and people in my companies and stuff. I've never met one as smart and as bright as Dan. And as a matter of fact, if you look at our team, you'll notice they're mostly all from Sweden. I wish I'd gone there 40 years ago to build my team, because it's some of the most amazing talent. And I you know, it's just, I think it's part of the culture there that, and people, when they go into a career, they take it very seriously, and then they get, you know, and again, like everybody on this team, almost everybody here speaks 3 and 4 or 5 languages. I can't even speak English. I can't even speak one language. So I'm always I just look at this group and go, wow, what a team. And Dan, by the way, I know some of you on this call come from a real heavy tech background, and we're going to be doing some private calls with Dan just to kind of answer some of your questions about what we're building here, because we're building our own code, guys. We're not going to be at the mercy of anybody else. Everything we do will be in-house. All of our code will be our code, which means we have the ability, I think, to do things that a lot of companies can't do. And we'll be able to do the types of things in our back office. If we need something, we're going to be able to add it on. So I'm going to be doing those calls separately here, probably next week sometime with a few of you. Again, we are thrilled to have Dan on as part of this company. Frederick, anybody else, or should we jump into some of the answering the questions there? I don't know if you've got anybody else on here or not that we need to say hello.
Well, we have our US team. Of course, we will be building a very big US team. Of course, because that's going to be our main market, right? We're going to concentrate on the US. I want to make that very clear. We're not going to, you know, open up Asia and Africa and Europe right now. We have a lot of things that we need to improve and that we need to build, and we'll take this one thing at a time. And when we feel satisfied, when we feel that we have everything in control, then we open up market by market, right? But I think that that's very, very important, that we don't get overwhelmed and we take on things that we shouldn't be taking on. One thing at the time, and we'll build it in a very structured way. We have a US team. We have David Pike, we have Frank, and we have other people that are on board and working for us in the US. You already know Dave, I guess. But Frank, would you like to just give yourself a brief introduction? He's our COO.
Yes, sure can. And obviously, I'm not from Sweden, so my blonde hair, blue eyes kind of gives that away for you also. Great energy. Operations is a key part of this. I've been in the operations field for about 17 years. I come from the healthcare sector. I'm a family man. I have 3 children. My concentration here is going to be synchronizing everybody, keeping the energy, understanding, communicating. We have a big opportunity here for everybody, so we got to make it a reality. That's my goal.
Angela,
We need to make sure we have product.
Sorry, but Angela, can you mute, please? Angela, can you mute? Angela, please mute. I can't mute her. I'm trying to mute her, but I can't. So I'm
Okay.
hang on. Maybe I can do it. Okay.
There we go. There we go.
Okay. There you go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Right. So synchronization, folks. So keep the communication. Very keen on trying to stay ahead of the curve. We have a serious explosion coming, and I'm going to work as hard as I can to make sure that we have everything where we need to be from an operations perspective. So I'll hold it right there. You could always contact me. I'm really excited to have everybody, and I look forward to this. Thanks.
And Frank is my US buddy, and I was just in the process of a move. Now, you know, you got a really great COO when he'll actually come to your house and help you with your move, because I say I'll never do that. My worst friends is a friend involved in a move, because there's nothing more painful than a move. And he came over and helped me with my move. And so, again, an amazing individual. Frank is also involved at the Chinese Theater. As most of you know, one of our partners owns the Chinese Theater, the World Historic Chinese Theater, along with probably half of West Hollywood, actually, I think the man owns. but one of the properties is the Chinese Theater, and we're doing a huge campaign there for Stoplight Go at the Chinese Theater. We get 6 million people traveling through that forecourt, wanting to see the famous handprints and footprints of all the movie stars and stuff. So we get to trap them and tell them about Stoplight Go. So that's going to be a great place too, to kind of, kind of give us credibility and an unbelievable image. We're going to be at all the movie premieres, guys. That's one of the cool things we'll be able to do when you come to LA to visit us, because that's where our marketing offices will be. You're going to have the time of your life, because again, our other partner in this thing has the restaurants, the hotels, the museums, the tour bus. He owns everything. So we'll be able, when you come there, you're going to have a blast. It's going to be fun. So Frank, again, is responsible for running that side of the operation too. So thank you, Frank.
Okay, well, I mean, we have David Pike left, membership and education director. Very, very important to us. I think that many of you are talking to Dave constantly.
They talk to him every day. They all know Dave.
Yeah. I know you guys. Now I get to put a face to it. Just real quick, my name's Dave Pike. I'm in Daytona Beach, Florida, home of NASCAR, and I love the racing theme. So it's a great way. I mean, let's make it a drag race and not a long journey. Let's get it done. My background is in education. I taught for 20 years at Daytona State College, part-time graphic designer. I've been a Toastmaster and among other things. And I got to meet Mark about 3 or 4 years ago in Atlanta, and we really hit it off. And I've been with the project since day one, and I'm happy to help everybody and make a smooth transition and what you need to know and how you need to do it. And I'll be behind putting together some of the support materials that you all have, working alongside Mark and Brig. So happy to be here and happy to help.
And last,
Just add to Dave. I got to add to Dave though, one thing. He is like my right arm. I mean, seriously, I don't know, because everything that he's doing right now for all of you, I mean, he's always there. He's always available. He's very knowledgeable about this business inside out. And Dave had a big input too in this whole thing we created around the racing terminology and make it fun and light and entertaining, because he's a funny, light, entertaining guy as well. Now, the only thing that I will say about Dave is that 3 months ago, he had a full head of hair. So I don't know what you guys are doing to him.
A week ago, I had a full head of hair.
so we have one guy left, last but not least, that we would like to introduce to you guys. You've seen that our design is kind of unique. I think that it's really, really spot on.
Yeah.
And before this, we had Seaforth, which that also had great design. And we think that it's very important with good design, guys. We think that it's actually key, and not only the design, also the UX and the flow on the site. You will see that everything we do is mobile optimized when we do stuff. And one of the reasons is that the guy I'm going to introduce next, he's an expert in user experience, mobile experience, cell experience. How do you navigate on a small device? What is logical? What is not logical? Processes are very, very important when you build a website, when you build a product. So Rickard is, as I said, I've been the CEO of 9 companies. I've never worked with a guy who's as talented as Rickard when it comes to UX and design. So Rickard?
Yes, I'm Rickard. I'm Swedish. Right now, I'm actually based in Sweden as well. I'm still here, although I have been abroad previously, all across Europe, working in different countries. But now I'm back in Sweden at the moment. Also a family guy and working with the design team. So to keep it short here, my job right here now is to make sure that the thing we want to create here, it keeps that atmosphere. It's going to be fun, light, and I also want to make it as easy as possible for you to navigate and actually do your work, the thing that you do best. So that's what I'm going to do.
Rickard also, he is, like Frederick said, for me, the best designer I've ever been involved with. I mean, every time he does something, I always look at it and go, wow, this is so good. I mean, so the expectations now for anything that he does is real high. And again, he understands, like Frederick said, what we need from a standpoint of being able to do everything, because so many people work from their phone today. And so we have to have that ability for everything to be mobile friendly as well as, building the kind of websites we're building. And he is amazing. So again, another Swedish guy. I don't know if that tells you, but I think that one of the things you probably understand here is this is going to be an international company. I mean, our offices are set up over in Europe, and obviously we have our offices here in LA as well. So we are going to be an international company. We plan to be global. We're launching here in the US right now. Europe is actually not going to be that way. And actually Canada will be opening very quickly. I know Frederick is always saying, Mark, slow it down. But we are going to be set to open in the EU very quickly because we've already got a lot of logistics and operational stuff already in place. And then from there, after we open that, then we'll probably go a little slower, making sure everything's working perfectly before we get too carried away and go into.
We already have a logistics center in Germany, and we already can do shipments. We've already made shipments in Europe, so it's not a problem. But
yeah,
one thing at a time.
Yeah, we got to get started first. So now I know everybody came here to have a lot of questions answered, but I think it's so important you kind of know the team.